All right, guys, thank you for joining me. Appreciate it as always. All right, consuming base, thank you for the 5x5. Flown grown, Kimberly, thank you for the 5x5. User is right, unless there is an overwhelming, how do you say, uprising. Yeah, we're pretty much screwed. Krista, Nostra, Mitch, Kathy, thank you for the 5x5. Maria, Dobie, What a Dude, Bobby, Live Free, JF Enterprise, Northern, thank you for the 5x5 or the 666. Jeep Dog, Sarita, Toto, Edley, thank you for the 5x5. Trapper Bob, Disney, Raccoon, thank you for the 5x5. Monica, Mary, Streetwise, or Streetwise, sorry about that. Loretta, for the doggies, thank you for the 5x5. Matt, Scrapper, the Watchman, thank you for the 5x5. Yeah, not sure why there's so much buffering right now. Buffering on YouTube only. All right, so if there's buffering on YouTube only, then it's not me. It's probably YouTube, but I'm going to check. What's up? The other one, Rumble. Brian, thank you for 5x5. Anonymous, thank you for 5x5. First and last, WTC, Ozark, thank you for the 5x5. People are still complaining about buffering. Not just me, but not on Rumble. So it must be a YouTube thing. So either you guys can bear with me or you can come back later. Normally, YouTube fixes the problem. Prep to adapt, Maria Jackson, Raccoon. I was thinking for the 5x5 on Rumble. Appreciate it. 5x5. For the dog, you said all good. Oh, let me get that pinned comment off for here. Don't know how to get it off. I guess I'll get it off later, right? I'll get the pinned comment, the pinned comment off later. All right, guys. So we're going to talk about a problem that I guess the media, not as a whole, is ignoring. And of course, guys, the whole problem with data centers is that it's a bit of a hypocrisy, if you will, for myself to talk about data centers when all of our information, videos included, go through data centers. Now, apparently, there are a couple of different data centers out there. I was always under the impression that a data center is a data center, which, yes, as a whole it is. But you have AI data centers, you have data centers that allow for this to happen, YouTube videos, whatever it is. You also have Bitcoin data centers or mining centers, if you will, that are also creating a problem. So those are three right now that I just learned about. I didn't know that they were like different. I thought like data centers all took data and just shuttle it through whatever building they have. I was under the impression that data center was just taking all data and going through, but there are actually, as of now, three different types of data. And there's also the data center that they're building in Iceland, Greenland, that supposedly, through the grapevine, is for American citizens' information. So bad enough these data centers have our information as is. This data center is supposedly to gain all American citizens' personal, private information, private text, private phone calls, private videos, you name it. And even just regular videos, you FaceTiming your friend or FaceTiming your kids goodnight. All of that is being stored in this data center, supposedly. That is the ugly rumor. And I listen, I do not doubt it for a second, right? Um, Yes, Jamar, data centers are all over the world. I just thought that there was like, they were just collecting data on everything. Apparently, they're different data. They're different companies that also collect different data for different reasons. Now, AI data centers also break up into two different issues, I guess. I don't know how we want to call it. But you have AI data centers like Grok, for example, which the data center is in Tennessee. It's called Colossus. It's by Memphis, I think. Maybe it's not Memphis, but it's a big ass AI center out there. And that data center, which is huge, is for Grok. And it's for Grok to learn as much as they can about making pictures on people or just creating an AI thumbnail like the one you saw earlier. So there's that, right? And that's for Grok. Then they have AI data centers for Open AI, and even then that splits up into different data centers. There are too many data centers being made. Granted, you have some for the purpose of YouTube, you have some for the purpose of, I don't know, medical fields, for example, which would be a smaller data center. But all of this is bad. And it's bad because it's starting to affect the people's health, which we're going to get into in a little bit. A lot of people are just under or not aware of how bad data centers are for the health. And people who live near it are already experiencing the downside to that. Um, Watchmen, it's not about them spying on you because as we all know, they're spying on us every chance they get. It's far worse than that. Right? It has nothing to do with just spying on you. Listen, I don't have anything to hide, so I don't care. But that is the same sentiment they want you to go with when the cops stop you on the street and they tell you that bullshit to your face. Well, if you're not hiding anything, why can't we look in your bag? If we're not hiding anything, why can't we look in your home? You see where that goes? Right. So obviously, the I'm not hiding anything is a bullshit tactic that they use to get you to open up about a lot of shit. And Sarita says that we have hundreds of data centers in Ohio. Apparently, Ohio, Texas, I think PA have a large amount of data centers. But I can find out officially who has the most data centers. Wish I could. Oh, okay. So as of right now, the most data centers in the United States in one state is Virginia, out of all places. I thought PA might have had more. But Virginia right now has 663 data centers of different kinds, right? So it's not just one kind. So different kind of data center. Texas has 405, Georgia has 162, California has 288, Pennsylvania only has 98. Interesting. But I don't know how Pennsylvania, when it ranks the top 5 states, Pennsylvania's in there with 98, above California, who has 288. Was weirdly ranked. It's probably AI messing with me. But anyway, this is where it is. Now, Virginia being 663 data centers. That means these people undoubtedly have a lot of problems, health problems included. And the health problems, guys, also, when I talked about data centers recycling the water, remember I was talking about how it's damaging our water supply? And then we talked about the closed loops and then turning into steam and putting it back into the atmosphere. And I said, well, that's a bad idea because there is definitely some chemicals attached to it, right? I said that could be chemicals attached or definitely chemicals attached, sorry, because it's going through machines and it's definitely washing some chemical off of something inside. Nonetheless, I watched the video and the guy talked about there is chemicals that comes out of these machines, if you will, and the chemicals are, let me pull it up. I think it's nitrous dioxide, which is extremely bad for the human body, period. And there are other chemicals in there as well that do harm the humans. I'm sorry, that harms humans overall. Um, so yeah, that was it. Now, with the data centers, the one problem that they are seeing with data centers, and I would venture to say down the line, this is absolutely going to make people crazy. Because people who have ringing in their ears, right, or constant ringing in their ears, there's a lot of that being produced from the data centers, right? So a lot of people are complaining of vertigo as well, which is another problem, which has to do with the hearing in your ears as well, or the equilibrium being off. Excuse me. So you have a lot of people complaining of that. The ringing in your ears is the bad part because there have been, and I only researched this because the ex-wife had a problem with ringing in her ears, ringing in her ears because of the surgery she had. So anyway, looking up on this, people have off themselves because of constant ringing in their ears. All right. So again, that's a whole new problem. I'm always tired now. Sue, that's another issue that they talked about, tiredness being an issue for people who live around data centers. It's full, thanks. All right. Anyway, so all of that, guys, um, constant ringing in the ears, I could almost, without a doubt, see suicide rates skyrocketing over this. I could see people not wanting to deal with it anymore. In some cases, one case that I read, again, this is a few years ago, somebody stabbed or took a pair of scissors to their ears. Tinnitus, right? I mean, but bad. We're talking about like a constant ringing that sometimes it's so loud you can't hear people speak, or when you lay down at night, you just hear that keeping you up, right? And it's a constant, like a like, and it's different for different people. But I've heard of something as bad as people taking, a person taking a pair of scissors to their ears to stop it, right? And I don't think it works that way. It's and maybe if you make yourself deaf, I don't know. If you smell burnt toast, call 911. Burnt toast, which that's usually synonymous with seizures, right? Which I can see that being a problem in the near future. I did not read anything about seizures, if I'm not mistaken. Though, no, that's a lie. I did read something about seizures and data centers. Listen, all of these problems that we're going to start seeing are going to start getting worse. Blindness, I can absolutely see as one of the problems. Though I haven't heard or read any reports of blindness, I have I have stroke. Thank you. Burnt toast is also associated with seizures as well. But anyway, because so is, what is it? Burning rubber, right? Some people said a smell of almonds or burnt almonds, right? That's another one. Burnt almonds is also a, what you call it, a gas too. That if you smell that, you're fucked. But there's been different smells, or auras around people, or auras like floating in your eye, sort of like a floating, what you call it in your eye, but it's like an aura. They said that's also synonymous with seizures as well. But anyway, all of that, guys, to say that these problems are going to get worse. And granted, we are all preparing for the next pandemic, right? We're watching whatever nonsense they're going to try to scare us with. We're all looking at this war in Russia, not Russia, excuse me, Iran, which seems to be dying off. And I told you guys this a week ago or 2 weeks ago now that this ceasefire was going to be the Americans' way of backing out of this war. I think this is it. But blindness, thank you, Sue, for bringing that back. Blindness is another thing I think we're going to start seeing because of the irritation in the eyes, right? Your eyes start burning when you live next to one of these things because of the amount of chemicals that they spew into the air. You need to get a Faraday hat. That's what this hat is, my friend. Anyway, um, yeah, all of these data centers right now are out of control. Illinois apparently has 244. Ohio has 203 data centers. Um, and it says California has 321, though this says, as of today, at least this says 288. But not sure where the discrepancy is with the numbers. But anyway, nonetheless, guys, Virginia has 665. This has 663. So there's definitely a discrepancy with the, the numbers I'm looking at. Yeah, the numbers didn't change. I thought they would. I thought the numbers were going to change if I asked a different question. Because there's another problem with AI right now, guys. AI apparently is trying to always consider you right. So if you ask it a question, it's going to give you what it thinks is the right answer for you, if that makes sense. So AI is making people delusional because it's making people think that they're right. So when you ask AI a question, including Google or DuckDuckGo, you got to be careful of the answers you get because it could be flat out wrong. Meanwhile, it's telling you you're right when you're wrong. So keep that in mind. Again, that's another problem, another what you call it. I don't want to go down. It's just going to piss me off. But anyway, so, guys, I pulled this article up about data centers and how and what the side effects are. Now, there's a couple of articles I have, not articles, but I got notes from a video, and I got this from an article. And the question in the article was, what has been reported and what side effects are they reporting? Now, this is based on an AI data center, or excuse me, a Bitcoin data center that's doing Bitcoin mining. A lot of these places, guys, the Bitcoin mining, I think when I heard that, I was like, that's bad. That's extremely bad because Bitcoin mining is pulling a lot of power to do so. Now, Grok's AI data center in Tennessee, as of right now, is only using 13% of Tennessee's power from the local city they're near. I want to say Memphis, but I could be wrong. But Elon Musk is opening another AI center, which is supposed to be bigger than Colossus, called More Harder. Some crazy name that you're like, what? Anyway, he's opening that data center, and that data center is supposedly reported to use 30% of all of Tennessee's power, or can use 30% of Tennessee's power total, which is bad, right? So, and he's working on this. Now, the crazy stuff about all of this, guys, is that these people built these data centers. They knew what these data centers were going to do. They knew the damages it was going to cause. They knew it was going to cause health problems. They knew that they were going to pull a lot of power from local places. They also knew that they were going to be fucking the water content or water table in that area. They knew this. Nobody builds these things without knowing the downsides of it. These people are good at what they do. I have to say that. The amount of lying that they do, we didn't know this is going to happen. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You knew exactly what this was going to do. Bitcoin created by Epstein. Northern Hillbilly. That's another rumor. Supposedly, the creator of Bitcoin died well before Epstein did. In fact, some people think he was killed, right? But he was able to set it loose, and there was nothing they can do about it, right? So again, that was when I was looking or doing research on the Bitcoin, the creator of Bitcoin. To this day, no one officially knows. The Epstein file said that it was him, but there are people arguing that it wasn't him, that he took the idea from somebody. So it's a lot of fuckery going on with that as of right now. Let's see. All right. So, for those that are interested in this nonsense, if you have a data center being built by you, you have to do everything and anything under the sun to fight to make sure those data centers are not pulled there. That includes going after judges who make this okay, because judges are going to be bribed, right? You're going to go to this hearing to make sure that the data center is not put in your neighborhood, even near you, anywhere near you. You're going to go to this thing. You're going to make all of these valid points. You're going to tell them about the health problems, the water problems, the land problems, the agricultural, the animals. You're going to come up with all of these points as to why not to put a data center there. Then once you hit the health part, you're going to go into detail as to why. Anxiety, nausea, stomach issues, neurological problems, you name it. You're going to have this long list of shit why they shouldn't put a data center there. And judges are going to go, we don't see any of this. Meanwhile, there is research upon research on infrasounds, for example, which cause a lot of neurological issues. You're going to tell them all of this shit, and they're going to turn around and go, we're going to grant them fucking permission to build. With, you know, with regard to humans, we'll tell them to tone down their inaudible issues that they're having, because people with the ringing in the ear, I can't hear that sound, but the low frequency sound causing ringing in the ear is why they have that problem, right? And so because the judge can't hear it and the judge doesn't live there, he doesn't give a shit. But let the judge's granddaughter live there, or the judge live there themselves, yo, it's going to be a problem. Do you have any suggestions for solving this? For the doggies, there is only one course of action that will correct this problem. Only one. And that means going full, gusto, if you know what I mean. We're not going to buy our way out of this. We just can't. We're not going to march our way out of it. Though some neighborhoods have. Some neighborhoods definitely stopped AI data centers from being built in their neighborhood. That didn't stop it from being built in the one county over or two counties over. The entire state has to stop these from happening. Now, could you go at a state level and break your governor's balls and state politicians? Yes. Would it work? Probably. For example, Vermont, I could see them fighting that shit tooth and nail. Absolutely. One of the only states, as liberal as it is, they will fight tooth and nail. This is where liberals come in handy, because even liberals understand that this is bad for the environment. This is bad for the human person. This is bad for the animals and the agriculture around. Farmers are going to start reporting of weird shit being grown or not being grown because of data centers. I promise you this. I will bet my bottom dollar. Sorry. Making a rude response. Anyway. Now, yeah, could you go to a town hall meeting and stop it? If they're presenting a town hall meeting, absolutely do that. And when you go to the town hall meeting, guys, you have to come correct. You have to come with all of the studies suggesting why this shouldn't be built here. There are already studies as to why, inaudible sounds are bad for the human brain, why infrasounds are bad for the brain, why the amount of toxins that they push into the air as steam, why that's bad for the human body, why a lot of places have eye irritation problems, why some people have gastrointestinal problems, why some people have lung and cardiac problems. You have to identify all of the chemicals that they would be pushing, and you have to bring that to the town hall meeting. And everybody has to come correct. You can't have that one crazy dude like, yes, and it's gonna make the lizard people come out of the ground. You can't let that dude go to the meetings. You can't. Tackle him, wrap him in a taco, and throw him in a closet. You have to come correct. You got to be like, this is why this is a problem. You got to say they're going to be using X amount of water every day, and this is going to drain the water table. You have to come correct. Now, if you do all of that, and the judge still grants them permission to build, now you got to go after the judge. And you got to break his or her balls. When I mean breaking balls, I'm talking about breaking balls. We're talking about stereo systems in front of their home, blasting all hours of the night, flashing lights like a disco all hours of the night at their home. If they have a wall, make sure the speakers go over that wall. You got to do whatever you got to do to make them uncomfortable, should they grant permission for these places to be built. Now, just because a place is built in the middle of fucking nowhere, 20 miles outside of town, doesn't mean shit. A lot of that stuff still carries over, right? It's still affecting people. It should be nowhere near. There's a data center in Death Valley, in the middle of the Death Valley. Doesn't bother anybody. But when you're building shit right next to neighborhoods, right next to towns, it's definitely affecting people. I tell people, listen, you want to give it to them, you gotta give it to them. You gotta break their chops, man. You gotta do what needs to be done. You have to take it to the next level to make sure that these places are not built. Data centers are not our issues, not our fucking problem. If they can't build them, then guess what? AI can't grow. They can't build them, oh well, that means Facebook can't do what it's doing. Facebook, believe it or not, every single thing you keystroke, they save, even deleted accounts. You know that whole bullshit when they tell you, oh, we can't bring your account back. They're fucking lying. They're absolutely lying. They have all of this shit saved in a data center. What you can do is you can possibly get some, if I'm not mistaken, a little EMP device, set it right next to one of those data centers, and do what needs to be done. You can do that. Um, that's always a good thing. That'll shut it down for depending on its EMP protection as well. That's the other thing. Some of these data centers do have EMP protection, but if they don't, have at it. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, guys. So this article, the article was called "Where Has This Been Reported?" And what else are the side effects to data centers, right? So the most well-documented case comes from Granbury, Texas. After a large Bitcoin mining facility opened, residents began reporting health issues almost immediately. Neighbors have complained about severe migraines, vertigo, nausea, panic attacks, anxiety attack as well, and permanent hearing loss. Now, permanent hearing loss is not a bad thing if your wife is always fucking complaining and crying. That's where it comes in handy. Outside of that, you don't want to lose your hearing. The constant, the constant low frequency roar of cooling fans have been described as dull, inescapable hum that rattles windows and disturbs sleep. Some said that they could even feel vibration in their walls at night. Noise measurement in the area clocked the sound at 90 to 100 plus decibels, much higher than the acceptable residential exposure levels. In 2024, a group of residents sued, claiming that the facility had caused irreversible hearing damages, tinnitus, and debilitating vertigo. The lawsuit is still ongoing. Why is it ongoing? Again, when you bring all of this shit to the judge should be like, you know what, you're right, shut it down. But they don't want to do that. So if the judges don't want to do that, guys, you guys have to go above and beyond. You guys have to fucking take the fight to the data centers or to the judge's home. You choose. I know what this sounds like. I know what this sounds like, but it has to happen. The effects mentioned thus far are only noise-related issue. The list of potential health effects grows if you take into account data centers are being powered or backed up by natural gas, diesel generators, which give people respiratory distress, cardiovascular diseases caused by their emissions, according to the EPA. Now, their emissions also include the steam that comes off the water that they use. The water that they use to cool off the data centers create the steam that also emits toxins into the air. So let's go. Granbury, Texas isn't the only case. Communities near similar crypto data center hybrids, like the one in Kentucky, one in New York, and a couple in North Carolina, have reported chronic sleep disturbance and stress, reduced quality of life due to the 24/7 noise and vibration. Some of these places, guys, you can take a cup of water. There's no water in here, but you can take a cup of water, put it on the windowsill. Some people in the middle of their homes on a table, and you can watch the water vibrating, right? So there is a lot of problems, and nobody wants to talk about it. Now, again, some of these things are being reported. Some people are talking about it. Some news agencies are talking about it, mainly the local news. But no one is talking about it in mainstream media because, well, this is a conflict of interest, as they would put it, because their information, the news, goes to these data centers. And because there's a conflict of interest, they can't talk about it. Anyway, yes, AI data centers emit low levels of EMF, similar to standard office equipment and or household electronics. These emissions are classified as non-ionizing, which means it does not have enough energy to damage the DNA bullshit or cellular structures or and are not considered dangerous to human standards. Okay? These people seem to think, well, okay, sorry, let me walk that back. They know we're stupid. They know that we'll believe anything that Google tells us. The human body absorbs a lot of this shit, this radiation that's being emitted from these data centers. Keep that in mind. There are people that actually work there. I don't know why I thought that data centers ran on their own and they were like one or two people. They have a whole employment there. They have a whole army of people that work at these centers. These people are being exposed to infrared radiation and non-ionized electromagnetic field, which is bullshit because over time your body is accumulating this minute amount of radiation, as they put it, minute amount. But if you work there every day, if you live there every day, because you have to live there, you're sleeping there at night, your body is absorbing this energy. This unnatural energy, I might add. It is not meant for the human body to deal with. So types of radiation emitted, non-ionizing electromagnetic fields generated by server processors, power supply units, and networking equipment. Infrared radiation, heat. High density servers generate significant thermal energy. Then you have RF signals or radio frequency emitted in small amounts from wireless equipment. Bullshit. They have a lot of wireless equipment there, so it's not small amounts. And visible light produced by operational indicator, LEDs, and security lighting. Now, the note on this is from Google. The note on this is data centers do not produce ionizing radiation like X-ray or gamma ray as part of their standard operation. They're probably lying about that. The amount of energy that it takes to run this is producing some kind of radiation. Anyway, safety exposure within the safety standards, EMF levels inside and around data centers comply with international safety guidelines. No, they don't. No long-term risks. Current evidence suggests that typical EMF levels near data centers do not pose significant health risks or to residents or employees. Bullshit, people are sick. And since they built these data centers in these areas, people are all of a sudden getting sick. It's not a coincidence. But that is what Google's trying to tell us. All right. And contaminants. The buildings are typically constructed with electro shielding and heavy infrastructure that limits EMF from spreading outside the facility. Again, bullshit. Other environmental impacts or non-EMF impacts, air pollution, noise pollution, and thermal pollution. Noise pollution is the problems why people have tinnitus and all this other bullshit. There is something called infrasounds. Infrasounds are inaudible sounds that has a low hum frequency that is causing a lot of people to get tinnitus, right, or ringing in the ears. Air pollution, diesel power backup generations used to diesel power backup generation used during testing or power outages release nitrogen oxide and fine particle matter, which are linked to respiratory issues. Constant humming from HVAC systems and server fans can exceed 90 decibel, causing annoyance to the neighbors, whatever. And thermal pollution, intense heat is dispersed into surrounding environment, requiring efficient cooling system, the water. All of this, guys, is from Google, by the way. And they try to dress it up as there's no problems. They're like, oh, you'll be okay living next to one of these things. Listen, they built it. They start breaking ground from data center. I will make it my personal mission to be a thorn in their side. Now, there is an Amazon data center going up in Portage, right in the middle of town, next to the lake. Data centers are horrible for your health. They cause various types of rare cancers, and even been within one for a half hour is dangerous. Being inside one for a half hour is dangerous. They pollute the air and the water supply. They also damage. Now, supposedly on a cellular level, they can cause damage. We're going to get into that in a little bit. They pollute the water supply. Okay, they are obviously bad because of job loss, but I haven't heard anybody talk significant about cancer risk, which some people are stating that they're getting cancer now from living next to one of these things. And sorry, let me walk that back. People are talking about cancer rates going up in neighborhoods. In the neighborhoods that people live in, they're talking about cancer rates going up because of these data centers that were built. Now, data centers and the ARM ticket around the same time, there's been a boom in data centers in the last 3 years. So you do the math. Now, symptoms of these data centers: dizziness, negative mood, nervousness, tension, fatigue, lack of concentration, irritability, reduced sleep, poor sleep quality, increased annoyance, Increased annoyance, we're going to get back to in a little bit. Nausea, headaches, vertigo, ringing in the ears. Headaches and migraines are two different things. So just keep that in mind. People are definitely talking about migraines as well. This is also, if I'm not mistaken, going to cause, not, I didn't mean to say if I'm mistaken. I meant to say this is going to cause cancer rates to go up as well. Now, thank you, Craig, for bringing that up. Remember the whole power line thing? How power lines were causing cancer in people? They were trying to tell us, oh, that it doesn't do that. Remember that some of the power lines also had low humming? Remember that shit? Remember that the power lines, they had the low humming and stuff like that as well. People were talking about disrupted sleep because of that low humming. Remember, they prior to the power lines being put up, they had peace and quiet, silence. They put up these things. They started having issues with birds not being. They noticed that there were no birds, in the morning, chirping and humming anymore. People were losing sleep because of that low hum, and then they were trying to tell people or gaslight them and say, "Oh my God, this doesn't cause any problem. It's power lines. How could it cause problem?" And then they would invite the people there, and they would sit there and go, "I don't hear any humming." You know, fucking damn well they heard the humming. You know they heard the humming. But they were sitting there going, "I don't hear the humming. What do you mean?" Well, at night, it's more pronounced. Then they have them come back at night and be like, "Shh." And I shit you not, they had a crew go out there from the company, electric company, and they sat there and all pretended like they did not hear the humming. So they went and tested it, or they did a recording or some shit like that, and the recording picked up the humming. These people were trying to gaslight them, like, "There's no humming here. What are you guys talking about? You guys are crazy. There is no humming here. We don't hear a thing." Well, they recorded it. So now all of that went into the courts, and the courts are like, there's nothing you can do about it. Because now they couldn't move the power lines, but they were able to move the people, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if it was all cases, but I remember one or two of the cases, they moved people away from the power line, right? But people were getting sick. Anyway, people were getting sick with the power lines. Now you're telling me that you got these gigantic systems being built, these gigantic data centers, the size of 5 football fields being built, along with all the other bullshit that goes along with it, right? In this area, people's health changed drastically. People are throwing up because they're nauseous. People are complaining of headaches all the time. Their eyes are red because of the stuff that's being spewed into the surrounding area. Is it every day? Depends on which way the wind shifts. People are like, "My eyes are swollen. I can't see. And then they're sitting there going, "Well, there's nothing wrong with the workers here." The workers are probably not complaining about it. I'm wondering if the workers are even lying about this shit. Or maybe the turnover rate to workers are, high. Like workers are getting sick and they're just leaving. And so they're hiring new people. Josh goes, "There's a power station next to me." Listen, I don't know. Power station have to cause an issue, maybe? I don't know, man. They have to cause an issue? Who knows? But there's definitely, fun fact, data centers have no negative effect on cockroaches. Well, flown grown, because we're better than cockroaches. That's why. But anyway, um, well, keep in mind, cockroaches can also survive extreme radiation, right? At least their offspring can. The way their eggs are built or some shit like that, some weirdness. Like if they laid an egg as they were exposed to radiation, that next colony of roaches can survive. Bizarre shit. Anyway, then you got something that's also being caused by data centers, something called vibroacoustic disease, which causes the thickening of blood vessels and reduces blood flow to the brain. This is probably why we have so many stupid people there. Now, vibroacoustic disease causes, if I'm not mistaken, depression, anxiety, and causes your heart to work harder because it's not pushing enough blood. Depression and anxiety are going up as well for people who live near data centers. Again, it's making me raise the question, and I have to look into it now. You know, how many data centers are in North Carolina, right? I mean, I'm going to look it up in a little bit, but there's a lot of problems with data centers. And these judges are going to look at all of this information and just ignore it. There are going to be judges out there, man, that are going to have a data center built by them. Like, absolutely fucking not. Nope, we're not doing this. We're not playing this game. You know? Um, anyway. Roaches can survive 8 days without their heads. Yeah, so I hear. Not willing to test that theory, though. You know, but I hear that. I have reduced blood flow, not to the brain. No, I don't want to talk about that either. But anyway, so again, a lot of these data centers, guys, are producing nitrogen dioxide, or nitro dioxide, excuse me, which has been shown to cause respiratory issues, irritation in the eyes, irritated respiratory tract, i.e., nose and throat, causes cardiovascular issues, ages your skin a lot faster, and damages your immune system. Now, aging of the skin. You're going to see some people living near data centers, and you're like, the guy, you know, they're going to be talking to the dude, and he's like, oh, we're the same age. And then you're going to look at the guy like, what do you mean we're the same age? He goes, I'm 49 years old. They go like, Negro, you look like you're 69. Well, because that nitrogen dioxide ages your skin. So all of this, guys, is being put back into the air because a lot of these places are turning the water back into steam because they figured, well, we can't put the water back into the ground or have it shuttled back into the river or whatever. So we put it into steam form, it'll dissipate in the air. Except for it doesn't dissipate in the air, it winds up back in your lungs or your eyes or your nose and your throat. Right? Rider storm. They're worried about cows, right? And cows farting and passing gas. They're worried about that. But let's build data centers that are actually harming the human race. Let's focus on your carbon footprint, but let's ignore data centers and their nonsense. The hypocrisy of the people at play are the people that we have to go after. It is a non-discussion. We have to start breaking balls because these people want us to eat less meat because they want our carbon footprint to be low. But let's fuck up the environment around us, and let's fuck up the people who live in those in near the data centers. Let's fuck them up. Let's screw up their lungs. Let's turn their skin into leather. Let's give them constant headache and constant ringing in their ear. That's fine. But let's look at a cow because a cow is going to damage the world and cause climate change and all this other bullshit. Right? This is where we are. Kim, aggravating is a understatement at best. Right? So anyway, now you're suffering from depression. You have anxiety. Your heart is fluttering at 1,000,000 miles a minute for no reason at all. You can't figure out why you're depressed. And it's funny because, the whole depression thing, being that I'm like suffering from it now and every day is a fucking challenge, I'm like, I can't imagine living near an AI center now. That would make problems even worse. And these people, again, is why I told you suicide rates are going to skyrocket. They're going to go up, without a doubt. If people are experiencing depression and anxiety, and then they have constant ringing in their ears, that is a combination that you just cannot ignore. Now, yes, some idiot on here at some point in time is like, well, they could just move. Why don't you help them move? Why don't you start a GoFundMe and move them? Off and on. Comet Moon is complaining about buffering again. I haven't seen any buffering on my side. But yeah, listen, these data centers are no good. Period. I don't, people. Well, not that anyone's going to argue with me over this. I don't think so. But these are no good. And listen, it goes the same with your Wi-Fi in your home. Thank you, Kobo, for bringing that up. Wi-Fi plays a role, but data centers have more power, and they're emitting, more bad energy from it. This is why so many people are being sick. Now, Wi-Fi does disrupt your sleep. That's why I turn mine off at night. I always turn mine off now, and I have better sleep. When you sleep in a hotel, and you think you're having shitty sleep in a hotel, it's not because of the bed, and it could be because of the pillow. In my case, it's always the pillow. But it's not because of that. It's because of the constant Wi-Fi that's going on, right? Buffering. Now it's buffering again. All right. So anyway, what ringing is he referring to? Chat. The ringing in your ears from the data centers being built by it. It's like YouTube has the hiccups today. They probably do because it looks like Rumble's doing fine. Yeah, I don't have a problem with Rumble at all. So it's definitely YouTube, right? Or it's me talking about the data centers, and the data centers are like, "Yo, get them," like send the AI out on them. So somebody said no sound. Somebody said sit closer to the mic. I don't know what to tell you. Grounding sheets can work as long as you don't have all this other stuff. You're not combating with all this other shit. That's the only problem with grounding, like and grounding blankets and all that other stuff, is that it only works if you displace yourself from what's causing the constant damage, right? So if you live near an AI center, you got to come away from that. You can't live there and then do the natural shit that you think is going to help. You got to move away from what's causing the damage, right? Sort of like living next to a nuclear power plant. The nuclear power plant is making your kids grow 2 teeth and 8 heads. You got to move away from it. Jamark, yes, I place my phone by my foot, and then I keep, because I don't keep it by my head anymore, and then I have my Wi-Fi's off, right? And then I also turn off my wireless or my internet on my phone, so that my phone's not always scanning, right? Because it does that. If you turn it off, even though you think you turned it off, you got to turn it off. Like you hit it off and it's white. Well, if it's white, it's still searching for Wi-Fi. It's always searching. So my battery gets drained. So I turn it off. Now it's not searching anything. Yeah, Adriana, YouTube definitely doesn't want me to talk. Oh, is he talking about our data centers? Get that Negro. Buffer his shit. That's probably what they're doing. Flowing Girl said, you're fine. It's just occasional buffering. Roger that. Now, guys, keep in mind, the AI data centers that they're going to build for OpenAI, the one that they're building out in Greenland is supposedly a massive size one. And again, they're looking to collect all of our data, everything we do, every phone conversation, every text message, you name it, they will start fucking collecting it. If they're not collecting it now. No Christian videos, no kidding. So Kim is asking, why is your channel under attack? Because I'm talking about the shit that's getting people sick, Like, listen, they need another Aaron Brockovich for this shit, because I'm pretty sure there are going to be lawsuits going in within the next few months, to if not in a year or so. Because I know that there's one neighborhood that currently put a lawsuit in against the data center being built, and they're still ongoing right now. Now, the data center that had the lawsuit against them, they built walls to stop the sound, but it did nothing for the sound, because like sound can't travel over a fucking wall. I know that sound is direct, but if the sound is being emitted like a cone, it's going to go over that wall, right? So it didn't do anything for them, and they're still hearing that low humming sound, and their ground is still vibrating, but the lawsuit is still ongoing right now, so we have to wait and see what that looks like. So, same here, not allowed to comment on Christian channels. Interesting. Interesting. That's the second comment that said that. But yeah, it's very interesting. It's funny. My son's mother just told me Poconos has a data center being built, and there's signs all over to block it. That's the kind of shit you got to fucking start doing. And forget about signs of blocking it. You got to make their lives a living hell. And Handsome Homestead said you are getting fucked with buffering. We're only hearing about 40% of what you're saying. All right, listen, if it's that bad, then shut out of it and reset the video or the live stream. Sorry, reset the live stream. You could do that too. Test the theory, talk about spam for a while, see if they stop buffering. Angry Brockovich. Nice, Craig. But, yeah, listen, going to be a constant problem. You got to fight like your life depends on it. And it sort of does. It sort of does. These data centers are causing people their livelihoods because they're losing sleep, because they got ringing in the ears. Now they're suffering from depression and anxiety. So what are they doing now? They're going to a doctor to get the doctor to give them some fucking medication that's going to help them, tone down their anxiety and depression. Except for the medications is not going to work. The doctor's going to up the ante on it. Then you're going to develop some psychosis from the medication that's not working because you took too much of it. It starts ruining your brain. Now it makes you crazy. Then you start hearing shit. Well, why are you hearing shit? Well, because the medications they gave you for your brain started fucking rotting your brain. And now you fucking see Michael Jackson moonwalking down a deserted road. Well, why did you see that? Because fucking the AI data center is fucking your brain along with the medication you're taking. So you're combating a problem on top of a problem, but you're not doing anything to reverse it. And the only way to reverse it is to move away from the data center. That's the cure. But where are you going to move to? Well, I don't fucking know because they're building data centers everywhere. So everywhere they build a data center, you've got to move from there. And then you move to a nice place. You found a nice fucking town in the middle of nowhere. Fucking awesome town. Everybody knows your name, almost like the TV show Cheers, except for it's in a town form. Now you're sitting there, you're enjoying your life. 5 years go by, boom. Some fucking asshole told, some data company they can build a data center in your town. Now you're fucked because now where are you going to move? You're fucking 70 years old. You can't go anywhere. But here you are fucking having to deal with the bullshit again. Anyway, all of that is why you have to fight because you can't fucking move all over the place. Maine is not slowing data centers, so it can be fought. A lot of places are not allowing them. Just keep that in mind. But there are a lot of places, local places that are allowing it to happen. Texas being a state, which I thought they would have fought tooth and nail, apparently not. Listen, Texas is allowing liberals and shit to move there. They're fucked. Right? Nonetheless, guys, I am more worried about the data centers and the long-term effects that it's going to have on people, which is psychosis are going to start developing. You're going to have psychosis from people that are all of a sudden figuring out why am I starting to go crazy? Why am I stuttering? Well, you're stuttering because your brain is damaged from all the fucking bullshit coming from the data centers that they said weren't going to affect your brain. Well, why am my kid's born with fucking 2 dicks and 5 nipples? Well, because the data center, right? All of that, radiation that's in minute and not going to cause a problem. Now your kid's the problem. Or maybe your kid's not born fucking all freaked out and freaky looking, but now he has behavioral issues because of the data center. Because these are going to cause behavioral issues in people. You're going to start seeing people do crazy shit. You're going to start seeing people do dumb shit. You're going to start seeing an absorbent amount of people off themselves. You're going to start people, throwing shit in their ears because of the constant ringing. You're going to start seeing more bodily harm. That's what you're going to start seeing. Thank you for the 5-minute heads up. Whoever gave me that, Jason, appreciate it. Thank you. This is the problem. And nobody is, listen, the only people who can fight it are people in those towns, in that area. Now, can I stop by and start fucking rebel browsing? Absolutely. Absolutely. But you guys have to fight, and then you guys have to fight the fight. And then you guys might have to even get dirty. And when I mean dirty, you know what the fuck I mean. Because this is what they're going to allow, then you definitely have to, interesting. So every time I mention data center, I start buffering. The data centers are listening. And Craig said it too. Craig just said data center must be the trigger word. Definitely a trigger word. Nice. Everybody's noticing it. Appreciate it, guys. Yeah, because I just got another message saying that. All right. Roger that, man. This is horrible. Oh, this is so horrible, data centers. Yeah, listen. Yeah, guys, this is going to be an ongoing problem. That's all I can tell you. I might have another live stream tomorrow night. I might not, whatever. If I find out more information on data centers in videos, I will be discussing it. I will do a video on this, obviously a lot shorter, inside of 10 minutes, if you will. But this is a problem. So now, Tennessee, right, the biggest data center in the world. I told you it was named Colossus. That's because of Grok. Now, this data center, if you will, uses 1 million gallons of water a day. 1 million gallons of water a day being turned into steam, and the local neighborhoods are now sniffing that shit in, right? Like glue. So keep that in mind, guys. If they're building data centers, you want to know how. Now there are talks of building some data centers in the ground, so that you don't have to worry about the humming sounds, or you don't have to worry about the steam being let off. Though I don't know how that's going to work. But as far as sound goes, there was a data center that I could have sworn I read about a week or two ago, maybe a couple of days ago. They said that they were going to build their humming devices, or the devices that made sound, in the ground, so that they didn't have to worry about it causing audible issues in the surrounding neighborhood. I thought that was an interesting idea. I didn't realize why they were going to do that until I started researching this. And then they said, ding, I said, that makes sense. That makes more sense in the world, why they're talking about it. This company is actually taken into consideration, and they're probably going to spend a little more money doing so. But there's certain areas that cannot do that if they are right at the level or below the water table, right? If they're below the water line, if you will, then they can't build in the ground, right? You would almost hope a lot of these places flood. Anyway, guys, all of the problems are definitely growing. There are a few hundred data centers being built as we speak. If I'm not mistaken, I think I don't know what the current number is, but I know it's a few hundred data centers are currently being built. And I know that they are proposing even more data centers in different areas, or why so many people are fighting against it. But you got to fight hard. Again, like your life depends on it. Other than that, guys, listen, fight the fight. Let me know if any of them are popping up in New York State, and if you guys have any protesting going on, I will drive up there. I'll even drive as far as PA for new data centers being built and join in that protest if I can. But just let me know via email at angryprepper@yahoo.com. Let me know, and I'll show up and see if I can show support, or just be a body for numbers, whatever. And if I'm the only black guy there and I stick out like a sore thumb, then so be it. But other than that, guys, thank you for joining me. Appreciate it as always. I will definitely